Hello and welcome to this answer video. This answer video will talk you through the answers for the worksheet ordering numbers, and it'll also take you through some of the trickier steps involved in this skill. So question 1 asks us to fill in the gaps in the number line using the numbers below in the question. So here's our number line. First things first is we need to see what numbers we've got on there. So at this end we've got 650, at this end we've got 666. So it's getting bigger as we go that way. It's ascending, it's getting bigger as we go towards the right. So we've got 650, 654. So something needs to go in the middle here, a missing number. We have 652 on there and 656 to use. Now 652 is going to go there because our hundreds is the same with the 6, our tens are the same with the 5, but our ones, the 2 is the lowest. So then it's 654 and then it'll be 656. Then we're looking for a number between 656 and 660. The only one on there left in the 50s is 658. And you can start to see a pattern emerge now. If you forget about the hundreds for a moment, you can see 50, 52, 54, 56. We're going up in steps of 2. So you might be able to complete it that way. 660, then we've got 662, then 664. And I know 662 goes before 664 because even though the hundreds and tens are the same, both 6s, the ones is a 2 which is lower than the 4. Question 2 asks us to put these numbers into ascending order. So 426, 381, 426, 381, 329, 894, and 677. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is look at the hundreds. So what's my smallest hundreds digit? Here we have a 4, a 3, 3. So 3 is our lowest. So it's one of these two numbers first. Remember, we're putting them in ascending order. So they start small and they get bigger. They start small and they get bigger. Smallest number first. So we have two 300 numbers. So then we look at the tens. We've got an 8 in this one and a 2 in this one. 20 is smaller than 80, so 329 is our first number. Then it would be 381 because that's our other 300 number. Let's cross those off. The next smallest 100 is 400, so that must go next. 426. Then we have 677 because 600 is smaller than 800. And our last number, 894. That is ascending, they're getting bigger. Question 3 asks, what is each representation worth? That is what is being shown, what numbers are being shown. There's two parts to this question, because the second part asks us to list those numbers in descending order. Let's take the first part of the question first. What is each representation worth? So let's look at A. We have 3 hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens and 4 ones. So 364 is my number there. For B, we have 2 hundreds. We have 10 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 tens. Now 10 tens make 100. 10 lots of 10 is 100. So that means those 10 there, that group of 10, they make 100. So I can have 100, 200, 300 there altogether. So working in the 300s. Then I would have no 10s left. And I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ones. So 308 is the number shown by B. Looking at C, we've got to add those together. It's expanded form. 300, add 40, 340, add the ones, 346. So there's our three numbers. That's the first part of the question. The second part asks us to list those numbers in descending order. So that means they start big and they get smaller. So the biggest one, they're all in the 300s. Then we move to the tens column. We have a 6, a 0, and a 4. Remember, we need to start with the biggest because we're descending. Start big, get small. 364 would be the largest. Cross that one off. Then 346, because 4 tens are larger than no tens. And then 308 would be our last one. So that is your descending order. They're getting smaller. Question 4, true or false? Lucy has placed these 5 numbers in ascending order. So ascending means getting bigger. So we've got 670. That's definitely the smallest. But then she's made a mistake because 767 has more hundreds than 676. So 676 is next. Then it would be 767. Then 776. Then 777. Lucy got these two numbers mixed up, and we can tell that they're the right way now because the hundreds are the right way around. 600s is less than 700, so this number has to go first. Number 5 asks us to go through the maze. So Elsie the elephant wants to reach the pear. She can only go through the maze by stepping on descending numbers. So remember, that's numbers getting smaller. So she's going to start on 336. That's where the elephant starts. Then we need to go to a number that's smaller than that one. So we can go to 330. Even though the hundreds and the tens are both 3, the 0 is less than the 6, so we know we're getting smaller. That's shown by the ones there. So then we can go to 323. The hundreds are the same, but our tens are 1 less. 2 is smaller than 3, so we know we're getting smaller still. Then we can go to 319, working our way across the top of the maze. Again, the tens are smaller than the tens here. We've got 2 and we've only got 1 here. Then we can go to 318. 1 more to the right. The ones are smaller here this time. 8 is less than 9. And then we can get to the pair by going 1 more to the right to 311. The hundreds and tens are still the same, but the ones, 1 is less than 8. So that's one way through the maze. Question 6. Hunter and Willow are placing numbers in ascending order. So remember, that's numbers going from smallest to largest. They're getting bigger. Explain who is correct, Hunter or Willow. So this is Hunter's. Let's have a look. 150, 250, 200, 350. I've spotted a mistake here. These two need swapping around. And that's because 200 is less than 250. There are 5 tens here and there are 0 tens here. So 200 is smaller than 250. So Hunter, he is wrong in his counting. Let's just double check Willow. 150, 300, 450, 600, 750, 900. Now Willow is correct in her counting, and we can tell that because each 100 is bigger than the previous number. 100, 300, 400, 600, 700, 900. Question 7, that asks us to use the place value counters below to create 4 different 3-digit numbers. So we need to create 4 numbers. That's the spaces for my 4 numbers. You can reuse counters for each new number. Okay, so if I use some counters, if I use 200s here for this number, I can then use those 200s again in this number or this number. So each time we can reset our place value counters. And then we need to write those numbers in descending order. So that means we start with the largest and get to the smallest. So let's come up with 4 numbers first, and then we'll put them in order here. So let's make 4 numbers using those counters. Remember, they need to be 3-digit numbers. So I can make 200 using 200s. I can use 3 tens and a single one, 231. I can also use 5 of the hundreds, 3 of the tens, and 3 of the ones. I could use 3 of the hundreds, 1 single 10, and 5 of the ones. And for my final number, I could use 100, 2 of the tens, and 2 of the ones. So I've got 4 3-digit numbers there: 231, 533, 315, and 122. Now we need to put those into descending order. So that means we need to look at making them from the biggest to the smallest. So we look at our hundreds first to find out the biggest. So this one, 533, 500s is the largest hundred in there. So that's going to be our largest. Cross it off. Then we want the next biggest. 300 is the next biggest hundreds. So 315 is next. Then 231, because 200s is more than 100. And then my last number, 122. So that's my numbers going in descending order. They're getting smaller. So that was an answer video on ordering numbers, and I hope you found it useful. Remember, you can watch the linked video tutorial to this skill over on kids.classroomsecrets.co.uk, or you can access loads more resources to practice this skill over on classroomsecrets.co.uk.